Hello, welcome to My Life in Spain. My name is Mark, and today I want to talk about my favorite Mexican beer, Dos Equis, and a story about how I tried my first one. Now, if you notice on the thumbnail of the video, that's me back in 1986, sitting on the pyramid of the sun in not far from Mexico City with one of my friends. How we got there is interesting. It was 1986. I was working in the Bahamas in a casino on Cable Beach, and it was the World Cup in Mexico. Now, England were expected to do pretty good, and most of my people I worked with were English, so my flatmate or apartment mate, David, he talks about, if England get to the final, we should go to Mexico City and watch it. So I said, yeah, okay, it sounds like a plan. So then, of course, if you're into football, you know what happened. England met Argentina in the quarterfinals, and Maradona, and what was later known as the House of God, he scored a handball, which there was no VAR back then, so it stood, and Argentina beat England 2-1. So we didn't go to the World Cup. Now, a couple of months later, we'd done all these plans, and we started talking about it, and I said, well, why don't we go to Mexico anyway? So David said, yeah, okay, we'll go to Mexico. And then Jeanette and another David said they'd like to go as well. So there were 4 of us. So we arranged it, got the time off work. We flew to Miami from Nassau. I think we probably flew Eastern. Eastern Airlines was still flying from Miami to Nassau back in the 80s. And we got to Miami, and the next flight was on Aeromexico. It was a DC-9 from Miami to Mexico City. Now, we got on board the Aeromexico plane, and we were sitting close to the back. And only 2 other people got on the plane, and they shut the doors. It was like we were having a private jet. It was a terrific flight. So we had a great time on the flight to Mexico. And we got to Mexico City, got a taxi into town to our hotel, which was the Hotel Londres, which wasn't far from I think it was called the Rosa District. Zona Rosa. And that's where all the bars and restaurants and nightlife was. And we had a great time going out every night. We went to Plaza Garibaldi's to see the mariachis. In the daytime, we went to Chapultepec Park. We went to the zoo. We had a couple of beers at the top of the Latin American Tower. And then my friends talked about going to see the ballet folklorico. And I said, no, I don't want to go see any stupid folk dancing. Anyway, they talked me into it, and I went. And it turns out it was a highlight of my trip. It was really, really good. I highly recommend the ballet folklorico. I also recommend the museum where they talk about all of these, show you the Aztec civilization and what it used to be like there. So after 3 days in Mexico City, where we had an absolute blast, we then went to Tasco, which was a silver mining town, and we stayed 1 night there. And I forgot to mention, all along this time, I tried a few different beers the first day in Mexico City, and then we had I tried several, and my favorite was, of course, the Dos Equis. The reason it's called Dos Equis, it was a German brewmaster set up the brewery in 1898, and in honor of the coming century, they called it 20th century beer, and they put the 2 X's Roman numerals for 20, and they're still here today. Now it's just known as Dos Equis, not 20th century beer. Anyway, this was a super beer, and I've stuck with it ever since. And just when I say ever since, whenever I'm drinking a Mexican beer, I go for Dos Equis. Now, I was in my local supermarket the other day, and I saw they had it. So I thought, you know what? Why not? Why not get it and make a video and tell the story about when you went to Mexico? So from Tasco, we went, of course, did the obligatory jewelry shop tours to see all the silver jewelry and stuff. And then we got on a bus again, and we went to Acapulco. Now, of the 3 places I went to, I have to say that Acapulco was my least favorite. And the reason it was my least favorite was because it was like being in the Bahamas. It was very Americanized. There was Carlos and Charlie's, Tony Roma's ribs. It was just full of American tourists. I wasn't impressed with Acapulco, except of course for the natural beauty. It was very pretty. We went to watch the cliff diving in Quebrada for a day. I jokingly said beforehand, "Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll have a go at that." And when I got there and I saw them, I said, "No way am I doing that." They had to time the waves coming into this like crevice in the rocks, and then they dive in. Anyways, again, quite impressive, but yeah. And now we're coming to the end of the vacation and we're running out of money. So we found a neat trick. If you wanted to get a free beer, if you went in one of these jewelry stores where they sell the silver jewelry, they'll give you a beer as you look around. So we spent a lot of time in jewelry stores looking around at jewelry and drinking beer. Anyway, let me get this one open and we can see what it's like. I'm sitting outside in a local park. I don't know if you can see it or not. So I'm gonna have to use a plastic cup. In fact, I think I can show you here. Little tiny park in Zona Norte. So let's get the beer open. Nice green glass bottle. One figure white head. Smells very toasty. Lots of carbonation. Nice golden color, plenty of effervescence. Small one finger white head. Very toasty, malty notes. I'm not getting any hops or any flowers from it. All right, cheers. Super refreshing. On a hot day, this will be a brilliant beer. I think I paid €1.29 for it. So it's a lot more expensive than a Spanish beer, I guess, because it's imported. It's imported from Monterrey in Mexico. And the company's now owned by Heineken. Anyway, really nice beer. Listen, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you on my next video. Bye for now.